All right, welcome. I'm gonna wait while people come in. I see Sorry here, Katie, Vera. Welcome to the webinar where we're going to discuss the innovation community grants that we have open right now. I'm just giving a little bit of time for people to get in, and then we're going to get quickly started. Hi, Margie. Okay, looks like people are in here, and just to let you know, this webinar is being recorded, and we're going to post it on the website. So for those of your friends that are just dying to see us talk here, they will be available coming down. If you want to use the closed captioning, there's a button down at the bottom that says live transcript, and you can just click on that. There will be Q&A available, not the chat feature. So if you have a question, please feel free to type it in the Q&A. We have Nikki and Christina who are going to be in there monitoring it, as well as Pilar. However, we also may take it live as well, if that's all right. And if there are any questions that we don't answer by the end, we are going to pull the information away, and then we're going to do some answers and put them up on the website as well. So we will follow up all that we do on the website. So with that, I just want to introduce everyone who's here. I'm Nalani Bruin. I'm the director at the Office of Economic Development. I am your comedian for the day. Right here next to me is Christina Kaiser. She is our energy specialist. She's also going to be running the PowerPoint today. We also here have Nikki Kunioka-Voles. She's our agricultural specialist and our equity specialist. So she'll be talking about that portion today in our webinar. You see Terry's name, Terry Lynn Martin Halmea. She's the person that keeps us alive and well every single day, trying to keep us going. So she is pretty much our boss. She won't be coming on, but she's going to stay quiet in the back. Just a big mahalo to Kaija Eastman from Leadership Kauai, who has this wonderful program where they provide these Zoom webinars for a community, and we really appreciate her and her expertise. We also have on board here Mary Beth Bennett. She's going to be introducing herself later. She is the queen, like Pilar Martinez, also here, of Amplifund, which is the system that we use to put your applications into play. So they will be here at the very end, kind of talking about, there she is, hello, Pilar, and Mary Beth. But they're going to be taking the tail end of this and trying to go through the application to make it as simple as possible for you to apply, because we really want to see all your great ideas. So with that, I'm just going to let you know we've gotten through introductions. That is done. I'm going to quickly go through the RFP and some tips for the RFP. The most important thing probably is that the most important thing is to read it. So please read through the RFP. We've gone through many things to try to make it as simple and easy to read as possible. But all the information you could possibly want is in the RFP, which you can find on our kauaiforward.com website or our government, our kauai.gov/OED website. And I think one of the girls can probably put that into the chat where those locations are. But you probably have already seen the wonderful RFP. So if we could, ding, let's switch to the next one. Thank you, Christina. So here we are. What are the OED Innovation Community Grants? Well, basically, they're our effort to work with you all, with people with great ideas to pull things off. Because as we all know, government just doesn't do everything that well. And we know that our partners are often the magicians of this world and are able to pull off a lot of things that we can't. So our goal is to work with our community to make these kinds of things happen. And that's really why we're offering this type of grant. Who's eligible to apply? Tongue twister. It's basically all nonprofits. So a nonprofit 501c3, 50 is a typical one. Sometimes we get C6s, sometimes we get C4s. So depending on different areas, C6s are business types of nonprofits, and C4s are agricultural types of nonprofits. So they're basically the people that we work with. You have to be a nonprofit that's based on Kauai or have a nonprofit fiscal sponsor for your local project. Your project has to be pretty much 100% in the county of Kauai. That would be Kauai or Niihau. You're going to have to be in compliance with the Hawaii Compliance Express. I think most of you guys know that. That's a government requirement now. It's a system that you go online with the state of Hawaii and fill it out, and they tell you whether or not you are up to date with your taxes and with your business information or your nonprofit information. So that will come into play if you get funded. And we need people that have staff or representatives that can administer the project if you're funded. So sometimes we get wonderful applications from nonprofits who are doing great work, but they really don't have anybody that can manage the grant. They've never done anything like that. They're not quite sure about how that works. So we really need you to have, whether it's a volunteer or a paid person, somebody in there that can manage the money, because it is, in fact, all of our money as a community. And we want to take good care of it and use it wisely. You should also have at least 1 year of experience in the program you're proposing. So, if you are for example, and this is a crazy example, but if you're a dancer and you are proposing a project about constructing and you've never constructed before, that would not be a good idea. The dancer should be proposing something about dance or something about creative industries. So just you should have somebody on your staff or within the things that you do as a nonprofit that are related to what you're proposing. You should have an equity plan. This is because we are people of the future. We are not going to go back into the old days. We are moving forward. And the great thing about it is that in Hawaii, we do have, because of the nature of where we live, we are often quite equitable, but we should get it down on paper and look at our leadership, look at our employees, all of these things. And Nikki's going to be talking about that more in depth a little bit later, because we know it's fairly new, although we've been doing it for a couple of years now. And probably the most important thing, like I've said before, you must read the RFP for the full details. Now, before we move on, I'm going to quickly just go through some of my famous tips that everybody can have and write down. Here's the first tip. Write down Tuesday, August 16th. I'm sorry, not Tuesday, August 16th. Where is it? If you open up your proposal, the deadline, that is what I'm looking for. The deadline for submitting your proposal is August 31, which is a Thursday at 4:30 p.m. I'm going to say that about 10 times today. Please, please don't miss it. In fact, if I were you, I would write down August 30th, just so that you don't have any panic moments on the 31st when the electricity goes out. So that's the first tip. Please make sure you do that. This contract period, it's going to only go from November 1st. So projects should fall within November 1st, 2022 to October 31st, 2023. Anything that falls outside of that timeline is probably going to be for another RFP, or it's too late in the current year. I really want to point out that this is all going to be applied for via Amplifund. There's no mailing things in, there's no emailing things in. It's all done through Amplifund. And Mary Beth and Pilar are here to help us with that portion. Again, the program has to happen 100% in the county of Kauai. Can't happen anywhere else. This year, what is different? This year, what we're doing is we have, when we pitch each year to the county council, we have asked for specific funding for different sectors, meaning we would like to make some movement in the agriculture area, in the energy and sustainability area, in the tourism management area. And when you read through the RFP, you'll see that those funds are now broken up. In the last couple of years, because of the chaos of the pandemic, we have had to pull the money together and just do whatever we could. And the priority was getting us out of the pandemic. This year, we're going back to having the funds based in areas. So you're going to need to pick a sector that you're applying to. However, we reserve the right to move you if we think you fit somewhere else, or if we think there's more money in another pot that hasn't been applied to as much. So we hope you will allow us that. We're not stuck completely to these numbers, but it's very close to what we asked county council and administration for. So we want to get as close to that as we can. So please read through that. You'll see the breakdowns. Each sector has a minimum funding request and then a maximum funding request. So you want to look at that. The only one that doesn't is basically the energy and sustainability sector. that just has a pot of $123,000 and there's no minimum or maximum. So there's almost anything can happen within that area. The other difference this year is that there is a match requirement. So we didn't do that over the last 2 years because it's been chaos, I know, for all of you. But we are asking for a 10% cash match on whatever you ask for and a 10% in kind. So it's 20%, but really only 10% of that is cash. So when you do your budget, you need to be looking at that very carefully. You'll find that under project match requirement in the RFP. We are allowing up to 15% for admin. That's another important part. And you can find that right after the cash match on page 12 in the RFP. And then we just want to reiterate that we don't pay for costs like writing the proposal. That part is pre-award, so we cannot pay for those costs. So don't include those. We are going to use, oh, I'm sorry, let's ding this by. Let me get back on track. Okay, so here we are. Once again, project eligibility. We want the project to be based on Kauai. Another really big thing is, what local problem are you solving? We need help, and the help that we need is trying to fulfill some of the recommendations that we have gotten from our community, all of our community. So in the RFP, you will find links to the different plans that are out there. Kauai General Plan, the Destination Management Action Plan. I mean, there's a bunch of different plans, and we've got the links for you. We would like you to look through them at some of the recommendations and see if the project ideas that you have are ones that might help solve some of those issues. So please do some homework, check it out, see what's out there, and try to help us solve those problems. Those actually get additional points for making sure that you're actually attaching a solve with a problem that we've already called on. We also are always looking for innovation. That's a big one. We would like to see, and it doesn't have to be like, you created, a flying cow or something like that. It's just, it has to just be that there's a problem, you're doing something a certain way, it's not quite working out, and so you adjust or you pivot. That's innovation. You're changing the way that you're doing something. And we want you to call that out in the RFP. Talk about it in your proposal. What is it you're trying to do? And what's been the problem that you've had that you want to change? That really sells the people that review it. They need to know and understand what your problem is and what you're trying to solve. And then again, making sure that the team that you have on paper is team with experience. Talk about their experience. Who are they? What is it they do? And what is it they're bringing to the table? And really don't try to call us and go, do you think my idea is going to fit? Because we're not going to tell you that. We want you to just try to pitch it, read through it, follow the rules, and it should fit somewhere. So that's where that is. And we have project eligibility over there. That was back there, but I kind of talked about the different sector areas. Very good. There they are right there. Some circular economy ideas, workforce development, tourism, creative industries, which is basically like film and all the kind of cool new creative things that are happening. Local manufacturing, agriculture, transportation, technology, small business, all those areas are in play with this funding. All right, so here we go. This is the timeline of what we're looking at. So after this webinar, you can ask questions up until August 18th at 4:30. And then basically we need you to apply by August 31. There's that date again at 4:30 p.m. because it will shut down at that point. You won't be able to get in. So even if you have a piece of something going, it'll shut down. You won't be able to get in. So please meet the deadline. Public review. Okay, we talked a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about that in the next slide, but that's basically the considerate, where we actually take your ideas without your names or anything, just take your ideas to the public and we let them read through what's coming through. What is our community pitching as solves for some of our problems? And they actually go through and come up with some really cool comments. So that's a fun period that we have, and that plays into the scoring. And then shortly after that, the selection committee is reviewing that and what the public has said. And then grantees will be notified the week of October 15th. And projects can pretty much start by November 1st. These are kind of guidelines of where our time is. We always try to move it up sooner if we can, but that's basically where, except for the apply by date, but we'll get it done as quickly as we can so that you can get quickly going on your projects. Ding! Okay, here we go. Here is the public review for Considerate. So there are links and we're going to advertise it, let them know when all of these things are online. and they can go check it out. And I tell you, we have been building an interest in this every single year. We've gotten more and more people interested in seeing what's up there. They like seeing the great ideas that all of you have. So it will go up again. It will be unconsiderate, and people will be able to kind of score it, what they think about it, and get behind the things that they really like. All right, so this is the way the scoring happens. This is also in the RFPs. You can read it through. But basically, the project proposal is the most important. It's 50 points. In there is where you basically tell us what's the problem you're trying to solve and how you're going to do it. Fiscal capacity and accountability, that's where we want to know that your organization has the ability to manage public funds, that they will be managed well. Qualification and experience, so this has everything to do with the project you're going to do, and do you have the people that can pull off something like that? So that's another 20 points. Public engagement, that's 10 points, and that's basically what we just talked about, which is the considerate piece. So maximum points, 100. Ding! All right, now I'm going to pass it over to Nikki, who's going to take on the equity piece.
Thanks, Nalani. So just real briefly, just kind of want to restate the value of an equity plan and incorporating equity into your applications. So similar to last year, our office is choosing to prioritize equity when we're looking at the impact of proposed projects and evaluating applications. We firmly believe that as a nation, state, and county, we should always consider equity, even if it's not required, especially since we come from such a diverse community, and for most of us, it does come naturally as part of just living and working on Kauai. So we're committed to supporting economic development projects that address longstanding equity issues. As you can see, the equity that we use, or the definition of equity we use is up on the screen here. So part of the application process for this innovation grant, we're going to ask applicants to reflect on the intention of their work, who they're supporting, and to go and identify how they incorporate more equitable processes within their organization, and how they execute their project. So, as you go and submit your applications, we ask that you have a current equity plan or equity statement in place. And then you're also going to be required to complete the equity reflection questions, which can be found in the project proposal information section of the RFP. Lastly, I think, just so you're aware, we are going to be asking awardees to reflect on how their organization's equity plan has been incorporated into the implementation of their OED funded project. And so we'll ask awardees to provide updates to any equity data, any metrics or other progress indicators, and take a step further and share how that information was used during the respective reporting period. So as long as you folks kind of have this on your mind at the forefront, it's a really simple process to make sure that as your project is progressing, we're continuing to push forward with an equity lens. And I think that about covers what we're hoping for in terms of your equity. This is a great depiction here of what equity is. It's not the same as equality. Not everybody is given the same access to things. And so what we want to make sure is that everyone has the same opportunities, regardless of what resources they might have access to. Sometimes that means providing more resources to some folks who may have been historically adversely affected by persistent poverty or inequities. Here are some of the equity reflection questions that are included in the proposal information section. Just kind of wrap your mind around it and get you start thinking about how your project is really going to put equity at the forefront. Next slide, Christina. And I think that wraps up the equity section. If you have any equity questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and we'll do our best to answer them in this webinar. If not, we'll get back to you in the next couple of days.
Yes. Thank you, Nikki. Great job. Okay, so we are now going to move on to our very good friends at Amplifund. Thank you for being here. They're far, far away, so we appreciate them very much. Mary Beth Bennett is going to be taking over the show from us now. Oh, Mary Beth.
Hi, thanks, Nalani. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. And today I'm going to be showing you the applicant portal. First, I just want to do a quick introduction. As you already know, my name is Mary Beth Bennett, and I am the Customer Success Specialist here at Amplifund. And I also have on the line Pilar Martinez, who's our Customer Success Lead. She's going to help out with any questions, and you're welcome to send any questions from the County of Kauai, and they will cover it either during the call or at the end of the training. So as a reminder, I should have told you this earlier. I know everyone's on mute, but I thank you very much. Continue to be on mute just to ensure that we minimize any background noise as well. So the agenda for the day is as follows. We'll talk briefly on how to get registered on the Amplifund applicant portal. We'll go online and through a navigation overview, we'll walk you through the opportunities details, as well as the process of beginning and submitting an application to Kauai, and then the administration sections. And finally, what happens after you submit an application. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll open up to Q&A and then dig into some resources if we have time. I'll go off video just so that you can concentrate on the screen and the demonstration. So, user registration basics. There's a few things you'll need to know about registration. It is required on the applicant portal to save any opportunities or apply. If you've already applied for a grant through the portal in the past or registered before, you can simply log into your Amplifund account. A few pieces of other information you'll need. You'll have that email address ready, your contact information, along with your organization's contact information. So once you're registered for that, what happens next? You'll have to accept the terms and conditions, which will provide you full access to the applicant portal and be able to begin your application. So if your organization is going to have multiple individuals collaborating on applications on this opportunity or more in the future, we recommend that you dedicate one user as the lead to create the organization's account and invite other users to that organization. So that'll allow you to collaborate on that same application together. And I recommend that you check with your organization to confirm no one else has started an application first. So let's dig into the actual applicant portal. And I'm going to switch my screen temporarily. Before I show you that, I wanted just to mention the websites that Nalani had prefaced earlier. You can see on the Kauai website that they do have the grant right here that you can look through, along with a link for the RFP. That is the PDF version. And then you can also access the grant through the Kauai Forward website. Once you've read through this and looked through that RFP, you can go to this first paragraph and click on the Here link to access the Amplifund system. And it's timing me out for some reason. Let me try it again. I don't know why it's doing it. One moment. Sorry about that, just a technical glitch. So as I was saying, that should bring you over to this website where you will have the actual opportunities details. So from that Kauai website, you'll be directed either to this opportunities details page, and you'll see the County of Kauai Innovation Grant FY 2022-23 at the top. So the opportunity overview, let's go through this page first. The first section you'll see is the opportunity information section. This contains basic information, opportunity information, such as the awarding agency, the posted date, and the agency contact information. You'll also see the public link right here as well. Down below, the next section is the funding information section, which contains the total funding available and a funding description. Then there's the award information that will, which the county has chosen to share an award ceiling or maximum, and a floor or a minimum amount. This is also where you'd find the award start and end date, expected number of awards, and potential matching requirements. Moving on, you'll see the submission information. This includes the open and close date and the time for the application. Please take note of the close date and time, as you will not be able to submit an application after this date. They are taking questions on the opportunity. So with the information found in the question submission section, it would include the period during which you may ask questions and the email address to send questions to. You'll also see an attachment to the RFP once again. Right below that is the technical assistance section. If your funder is holding a technical assistance session, there will be a session date and time, as it is today. Then we have the eligibility information, which includes the types of applicants that will be accepted. There is an additional information section as well as with the Kauai Forward website. And finally, there is an award administration information section. This covers reporting. Now notice that this also does explain all the reporting for this period and what is expected of that. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and I'm going to show you that you also have an evaluation and a scoring tab. This would contain any additional information on the scoring criteria, the review and selection process, and the potential award announcement date, and these all align to that RFP. So I'm going to go back to this. And notice that at the bottom of each of these tabs, you will see a save or apply button. From here, I want to review the progress bar and navigational buttons here at the top. So I'm going to click back on that opportunities details, and let's go through these buttons. So first, you'll see that we have the print, download, and save opportunities. If you click the print icon, you can print to a printer or PDF on your computer. If you choose the help option, you are taken to a help page that includes our comprehensive applicant portal user guide, as well as the contact information for those at the county that can help you with this applicant. So if I click on this, it's going to bring me to that page with all the helpful information of who to contact, as well as a link to that help document guide PDF. And you can download a PDF, download this as well. I'm going to go back to this tab. And now by clicking download, you can actually download a PDF of the opportunity. When clicking save, you can be prompted to register or log in. If you're ready to apply, you can click on the apply option, and apply will take you into the application where you can view opportunity details and see progress by each application section at the top of your screen. Show you that. If you haven't registered yet, you can click on the register button and it'll direct you to the create new account page. So if I had not registered yet, I'd type this, click on this register button. And then it's going to tell me to fill in the necessary information. Now, please be cognizant of the starred fields because those are required to be filled out. So you'll have to put in an email address, a password, you'll see your role within Amplifund, confirming your password, typing in your first and last names, and then also adding in the organization information below. Once you're done with that, you can click that register button and it will register you into the applicant portal. It will also then direct you to a terms and conditions page, and you will click on the I accept to move forward. That will bring you back to the opportunity details page that we were looking at before. In addition, you can click on this logo in the upper left corner for the County of Kauai to access the administration section. This will show you if you are ready to add additional users, or click on the users tab and then click add user. You will see these applications down here too. This is our stage environment for Amplifund. So we have a plethora of other applications that we've used in the staging process, but you would see any applications that you may have already looked at before. In addition, we have the FAQ, which you can click on for more information. And that also brings you back to that help document guide PDF. Along with this portion of the FAQ and the applications, once you're done with this, you can actually come back and start your application with the County of Kauai. So I'm going to come back over here, click out of this. And I'm actually going to log in because I have registered before. All right, so I'm going to click on the apply button in the upper right corner. Ignore this part because, as I said, in our staging environment for Amplifund, we have started other applications, but I'm going to create a brand new application for this opportunity. After I've hit applied, you're going to see that I have landed on the project information page, which is included on every opportunity you apply for in the Amplifund applicant portal. At the top, you can see the progress bar we described earlier. On the you will need to complete your application name, the amount you are requesting, and your primary contact information. The name and email will populate from your username, but they can also be adjusted as necessary. The person who's entered into this information in here is the primary contact for this application, who is the person and email address that will receive the automatic notifications sent out from Amplifund about these applications. They happen as the application actually moves through that process. Once you've completed all information, you're going to have a couple options at the bottom. So first, I'm going to put in my application, my my cash match contributions. My primary contact information has already auto added, but I would just always recommend just checking that it is correct and you have the correct primary person on here. So as I said, once you have completed all the required fields on this project details page, you're going to come to the bottom and you'll see 3 different buttons. Save will actually save your work and you can will keep you on this page. This says mark as complete, but it would have mark as in progress if it was new, in which you are able to save your work and mark this section as complete or and in progress. And then finally, the save and continue button. This will save your entries and will move you on to that next page. I would like to let you know that this used to be green and now it's grayed out. If you've marked a section as complete, you can still go back and edit that section by hitting that mark as in progress after you have required after you've made any required edits to mark it as complete again on that section. But once I'm done, let's just write in. I put in my information, and now you're going to see that it has turned green, and I'm going to click this to successfully save that information here, and I'm done with this section. I also, while I'm on this page, want to remind you that Amplifund will time out after 20 minutes of inactivity. So just like you've probably done with Word documents in the past, I highly recommend hitting that save button over here from time to time to ensure all your work is saved. So another alternative is hitting that save and continue button. That save and continue will move you to the next section of the application. At the top, you'll see all these buttons or these circles that are progress buttons or navigation buttons. A green circle with a check mark means the section is complete. A fully green circle means a section has been saved. A green circle with a dot in the middle means that you're actively in that section and it's not complete. An empty circle as above means that that section is not complete. And then any section with an asterisk like this budget one next to the name is a required section of that application. Finally, as you can see with the project information, there is the green circle with a white dot, and that just means you're actively in that section and it is either saved or complete. So now that I've gone through that, let's go through to the next section. I'm going to click on application forms. In the application forms section, you have one form to be filled out that the County of Kauai has determined is required for this opportunity. You'll see it right here. This form will save the status of new before you enter the form. If you start a new form and save your progress, the form will then be listed as in progress under the status. You'll also see that here on this form, you can click the apply to button. Oh, nope, it's gone. The print button, I'm sorry, the print button, and you have the option to click on that print icon to print that out. Once you click on that print button, it will provide you with a PDF that you can print or save to your desktop. Finally, I also highly recommend saving any sections of this form to continue and go on to the next part. I'm going to save and continue. Now it has brought me to the full page of the application form. First, you will see the title of this application or the opportunity, and then the application instructions. As Nalani had mentioned, I highly recommend that you read through that RFP before you proceed through the section. It'll provide you an abundance of information and is available just by clicking on this green link right here or going to that Kauai Forward website. So once you get to this application, let's go through the types of questions you might see. First off, anything again that's marked with an asterisk is going to be required and you have to complete to move forward. So the first section over here, the type of question you will see is a single line text where you can type in your small amount of text. Next, you'll see also a bubble right here. This is a bubble icon that actually opts you to choose one or the other. And then I'm just going to click yes. And notice that a conditional question has appeared as determined by my answer previously. So because I chose yes, another question popped up, and now it's also requiring a file. It says if you've answered yes to the question, please list the organization. If you've answered yes, please attach documents. To choose to attach documents, you'll click on that choose file. Find your information. I created a fake form and I attached this to that file. You'll continue going through the number of questions. Again, just writing out all the necessary information. You'll see multiple choice bubbles like this, in which you will click one or the other. And then conditional questions will pop up from time to time, depending on the answers. Scrolling down, there's also a number of additional choose file questions where you'll have to attach a file from your desktop or from your computer and ensure that that is uploaded so that you see something like this green title to ensure that it is actually uploaded. Now I am coming upon some questions that have multi-line text box. Sometimes the multi-line text box will have a formatting toolbar. So it says explain the depth and breadth of experience in the organization and the performance of similar project work and or grant management. It's looking for me to write more than a couple lines on here. So in addition, you'll come through and take your time filling out all the appropriate questions. Some of them could be numeric, such as A3, which is asking for a grant amount. Oops. And then once you have gotten through and answered all these questions, keep in mind, I would always suggest hitting that save button down at the bottom. I'm going to scroll on down here. I know it's going to take much longer than this, but you have everything right here on this page to complete your application within this form. So if you want to save, you can stay on the page. Mark as complete will mark the page as done. or save and continue will save your progress and navigate you to the next section of the application. As a reminder, all forms and sections must be marked as complete to submit your application. I'm going to mark as complete, and notice that it has a bunch of red text around it that is indicating this field is required. So it will acknowledge that which ones have to be filled out. I'm just going to save, and then I'm going to go on to the budget section. When you click on the budget, you're going to be shown this proposed budget entry page. At the top, you have view options where you can select or remove line items and non-grant funded items. The total revenue budget at the bottom of the screen is populated from the amount you entered on the project information tab as the amount requested and what County of Kauai requires as a non-grant funding, such as matching funds. If you also needed to change that amount request or match funds, you'll navigate back to that project information section and update as needed. So you'll see right here, the total revenue budget cost is down at the bottom, as well as the total overview, overall budget cost. In the proposed section, you will see the budget categories that the County of Kauai has included, which you may propose spending in. You do have the ability to also add categories, but first I'm going to add a line item for one of these sections. So let's say I was going to be adding in a line item for supplies. I'm going to click on that plus icon, and it's going to bring me to the new line item screen, ensuring that I have the correct information right here. You'll see that it has the category listed and then the item type. The item type can be non-personal or personnel. I'm going to put the name of the supplies, and I'm just going to put computers, and then the direct cost. If it is non-grant funded, you'll keep it at no. But if you do want it, you'll click on yes, and that will open up the cash match and in-kind match. You'll also see the total budgeted right here, as well as a narrative at the bottom that you can add any other information. And I wonder why my math was wrong. There's another, there it is. Okay. So I put in my direct cost is 15,000, the grant funded is 12, cash match is 1,500, and then the total budgeted is, oops, that was 18. There it is. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to click create. So here you'll see the different columns. The grant funded is 15,000. The non-grant funded amount was 3,000. So the total budgeted amount for that line item of computers is 18,000. You could also create a new program. A new category right here towards the bottom. To add your proposed category, click on that plus sign, and that will open up this, and you'll have to make sure it's not a category that's already listed. I'm just going to put a generic name of items and ensure that I'm enabling that match. And it went over there. Oops. Take two. There it is. And in order to, if you want to edit this category, you can click on that icon that with the pencil. If you need to delete any of these line items, you can click on that trash can. But to look at the items, click on that plus sign, and like I did before, you're going to fill in your information here. I'm going to just name it items again. I know that you will be a little bit more concrete on what your category names would be. Once again, I'm going to go to the non-grant funded section. The grant funded amount was $18,000. The cash match. Oops, I got that wrong. There it is. My typing skills are subpar today. There it is. Once you're done, you're going to create that button. And you'll notice that you have that information here at the bottom, and it has recognized the items that you've had at the top, as well as this category, and they all are showing with the subtotal amount. I can mark as complete once I'm done. And then I can go on to the next section. Notice I can save and continue as well. And then I can go to my submit button once I'm done with everything. So let's say that you have filled in all of your sections and you have a green check mark at the top of every part. You will then be able to submit. But I would always say, before you submit your application, check over those buttons at the top that they have that check mark, and it will show you in red if there is anything that's missing that or is not marked as complete, like this applications form. So if you see the red text, that's just an error showing that nothing is, not everything is marked as complete to go ahead and through the submission section. Also, you don't have to actually complete and submit this application in one sitting. You can save your information as you go and come back to it at a later time. You can have access to log into the applicant portal at any time to work on applications or view an application status. So you would go ahead and click on that public link from that Kauai website. And then when you log in, as I did before, you'll see the Amplifund login screen, and then you can put in your email and your password on that site, and then come back to this application. Finally, you can also review your application. What that does is provide you it works. A little slow today. It'll show you like a zip drive or something that you can download and review that application and accept that for your records. Once I do, if I had set up my submit button and I had accepted everything, I would click on this submit button. And in turn, I would actually have a success screen to confirm my application has been accepted. So I'm going to go back to my application form, click on this. And notice that I have everything is, it showed me that I did not have everything completed on that. So I would not be able to, in this instance, submit my information. However, if you were done, you would click that submit button. You'll receive a notification from the County of Kauai notifying you that they have accepted your submission. And then you'll also receive a notification of its submission too. You will that your application has been submitted, and you can always click application to download or click exit at the end of this once you've completed everything. So that is the demonstration for the application for applying to this opportunity with the County of Kauai. I know I've been talking a long time, so I'm going to let that open it up for questions or see if there's anything that had come through the chat.
I'm not sure. Did Pilar, did you see anything go through the chat?
There was only one question that got answered. Oh, we just have one more. Oh. Okay. The question is, I'm having trouble accessing Amplifund. It says their organization has already registered, but they haven't received the forgot password email. Jasmine, I will suggest, I'm gonna type here our support site. This seems like should be handled by our support team. So I'm gonna give you an email address that you can email to, and they will be able to help you with this issue.
I'm going to quickly answer live this question about how do the innovation community grants differ from the County of Kauai grants. There's actually different departments at the County of Kauai do grant work. These ones are basically based in economic development because we're from an office of economic development, obviously. So that's our goal is to diversify the economy. So a lot of our projects are based there. The other RFP that was released, which I believe was the mayor's office, theirs are more community-oriented grants, so they will often do, anything from Red Cross, so things that are very much just supportive of the health of the community versus the economy. That's basically the difference. And different office. Christina, did you want to go through some of the questions that came through just for review?
Yeah, I think Nikki and I are going to do a little bit of back and forth in case anyone on the webinar is not able to see the questions that have been answered in the Q&A. I'm just waiting for Nikki to get in. I can do the first question from Siku. It was our project proposals from last year still on Consider It. So I just dropped a link to the last year Consider It page. And then this year's one would be posted on the Kauai Forward website when it becomes available. We had a question from Vera. It said, I missed what was said about public engagement. Can you restate?
So for that, 10 points of your final RFP score will come from public engagement, similar to the last few rounds of innovation grants. We utilize the Consider It tool to solicit feedback from the community, get a sense of the community's response to your project. And on this site, all project proposals are anonymous with respect to the applicant fiscal sponsor organization.
And as much as we were able to, we were just trying to cite specifically from the RFP so you guys know exactly where you can find the information and the response that we have there. The next question was from Julia. They said, we have a fiscal sponsor with several projects who would like to apply. Is this permitted?
Am I answering? Yes.
Sorry, I was like, we'll do a
as long as as long as they're separate, different projects. You can't all apply for the same project. It needs to be separate.
The next question was from Loretta. They said, could you verify if projects that are currently underway or have used CARES Act funds or County of Kauai funding are eligible for this grant?
So the same project, no. We don't want to refund the same project. However, we know that a lot of projects have several phases that happen. And so we would look at if you're moving into another phase, it starts to change what's happening, then we would definitely look at funding that. Or if there was a huge pivot that was happening, innovation again, because you learned something about the way you were doing something. But if it's more of the same, then probably not. I don't think it would score very well.
And then Vera asked if Amplifund saves automatically. And Mary Beth had responded that no, you must click save to make sure the work is saved. And then they recommend saving often since the timeout after 30 minutes of inactivity function for security purposes.
Good tip. Good tip. Save, save, save.
Mhm.
Sorry, Mary Beth, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Nope, that was correct.
Perfect. Another question from Siku. Siku asked, is there a list of nonprofits on Kauai that offer fiscal sponsorship? So Nalani had shared, not really. Most nonprofits have specific missions. So the project would need to help them with their mission in order to make them take it on. And then Siku also asked, does a nonprofit have to be on Kauai or can it be anywhere in Hawaii or other states? So in the RFP, it states to be eligible for the award, the proposal shall be a Hawaii-based business with a Kauai nonprofit sponsor, and the project is based 100% on Kauai. So we don't want to be funding projects that are doing work on Oahu or organizations coming from Oahu or other states and stuff like that. It's Kauai-based and for Kauai.
We also don't want to send our administration fee away. I mean, we know that somebody's going to get that admin fee, and we would love it to be somebody, in our county. I had one other tip. I know some people we're paper people, we're from another era, but there is, I think on our website, an example of the application. So sometimes you like to have it in a hard copy next to you as you're trying to fill things out before you even go into the system. So that is available on the website. I know there are a few people that really like to have that, really like to look at it on their desk before they actually start writing. So that is available. And I think in the past, the biggest issue has been passwords, like it's already existing right now. So we really encourage you to get in there now, figure it out. Amplifund has a wonderful support system, so they will be there to help you get through that. And usually it's because, you know how it is in nonprofits, people change over years. You don't have the same people and the passwords get lost. So expect that to be possibly an issue. So you want to tackle that early on, not later. Any other questions? With that, I think we are done. We want to thank all of you for coming. It's been just over an hour. We thank you for all the work you do in the community. What you do is amazing, and you should be applauded over and over again for what you do. We thank you. We really want to partner where that fits. So mahalo for joining us, and we hope to see your applications in Amplifund. Mahalo.